Let me just give an example with a simple sentence. So, これは私の pen です。Just a simple sentence like that. This is my pen. Okay. So I'm going to show you a breakdown of how sentences get put together that will help in general. Okay, so let's say you're working from English and you're trying to put a sentence into Japanese. That's the harder direction to go, right? So the first step in translating a sentence is identify your verb. Okay? In an English sentence, anything that's before the verb is generally what part of the sentence? The subject or the topic, right? So therefore, that is going to be equivalent to whatever the wa is and what, what's before the wa, right? So particle wa, although it doesn't mean is, the position of it is generally going to be approximately where the is or the verb is in English. Make sense? After that, you change the order around. Okay, so my pen, because my is modifying pen, my pen works as a unit, right? And that's equivalent to this unit, right? And then you look at where is in English versus where des is in Japanese. If you want to, you could kind of divide this sentence into 3 segments, right? And if you number them in English, 1, 2, 3, what you find is that in Japanese, this gets labeled as 1. The my pen part is 3, and then this is 2. Can you see what I'm doing here? So the general order of Japanese sentences is section 1 is still at the beginning, right? Your topic is still at the beginning of the sentence. But then, assuming you understand how to group things by, unit, basically, things like my pen are a unit, so they go in that order, watashi no pen, right? But assuming you're working in a unit, you're kind of working backwards from the period. You see what I'm saying? これは this, my pen, 私の pen, is this. You see that? So it actually is easier to see when we get into more complex sentences. So we'll talk about this again in lesson 3 and 4 when we start to be able to do sentences with things other than the verb is. When we start to be able to do sentences with other things like I ate a hamburger or whatever. It gets clearer and more obvious that you do your topic, your particle first, topic plus wa first, and then the rest of your sentence, whatever the English order was from the verb to the end of the sentence in English, you reverse it and do it all basically backwards, work backwards from the period. Look at that. My pen, and then is, right? If you're doing a longer sentence, it's still going to be what's closer to the period, and then what's in the middle of the sentence. Okay, so that's kind of it's a weird little method, but I tell students, if you're struggling to convert your English sentences into Japanese, think in terms of identify the topic first, put that there with your particle wa, and then work backwards from the period for the rest of it. And it works really great with longer sentences in particular because they're more confusing to try to translate. Make sense? Okay, so hopefully that's a helpful tip that you can use as you're moving forward with Japanese. Okay, and of course when we're working with textbook examples, usually they're really good about giving us a good example of the pattern we're working with. So all you really have to do in that case is if you're working off of a Japanese sentence that's in the pattern you need and you're just changing the sentence to suit a new picture or a new scenario, you can usually just substitute out pieces of the sentence and keep the rest of the structure the same, right? Because Japanese sentence structure is very formulaic. So you can keep the same formula, and you know, if you're not asking about a pen, you're asking about a book instead, just take out the word pen, put in the word hon, and you're good, right? That works a lot of the time with the textbook exercises. The trick is to practice those textbook exercises enough so that then when you run into, here's an English sentence, put it into Japanese, you've practiced those structures enough that when you do this method, you can kind of check yourself and say, yeah, that sounds right. これは私のペンです. Yeah, that makes sense. That sounds like what I would have done in class. That's kind of like your second level. If you've heard enough sentences in the correct Japanese style to be able to listen to it and say, yeah, I think that sounds pretty good, right? Okay, help me remember, did we do vocab last time? Or were we going to do vocab this time?
We did vocab. I don't know if it was last time.
Okay, so does everybody want to just jump right into practicing grammar, or should we do a quick run through of some of the vocabs stuff first?
I vote grammar.
You vote grammar?
So I mean,
Okay, just.
Because we already did vocab, like several classes.
Just take a heavy object.
Yeah.
it just depends if it doesn't practice so hard, really.
Yeah, yeah, well, and like we talked about last time, different people have different schedules outside of class, so I don't want to make somebody who only has a couple of hours a day to study feel bad that they're not spending 8 hours a day on this stuff, like some people probably are. So, okay, and remind me which activity we finished in here.
We're part A,
Okay.
73.
Okay, so we finished part A, or
We were
we're
starting
about
it.
to start part A?
Yeah, we were about to start it.
Okay, so that's what we're gonna start with then. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, my other class was one, activity behind you guys. But they caught up pretty far today, so we'll see how far we get. Okay, so let's look at card A and card B. And the way this works is you kind of have to be able to flip back and forth. So card A is here, 73 page, and then 81 page has card B on it. Okay, and we're going to let Paul-san start for tonight. So he's going to, actually, let's have people who start read the example first, so we kind of remind ourselves what we're doing. So Paul-san, read the customer, please, and Ken-san, the store attendant.
Okay. So just the example.
Yeah, just the example
Okay.
for now.
この鉛筆は60円です.
That's not the one we're up to.
Oh,
Next page.
right there.
Hi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we did that one last time.
Oh,
We're up to
alright.
this one.
Right. この本はいくらですか?
2100円です。
Hi. And we're not going to borrow about the ja sono kaso kudasai for now, because that's assuming that it's just two people at a time doing the whole thing, and we're not doing it that way. Okay. So does everybody see how that corresponds to the picture? There's a little picture down there. The guy who's supposed to be the customer is standing right next to that book. So therefore it's kono hon wa ikura desu ka? And the store attendant is further away and just answers with 2100 yen desu, which is the price tag listed, right? So now if you're asking a question, you're gonna be looking at this card for now, and if you're answering, the answer to your question is actually on the other card.
I just realized there's actually numbers there. I made up my numbers.
Oh.
Just saw that. Okay.
Okay, so you're gonna ask Ken about Ichiban, which is the
Casa.
umbrella,
Oh.
casa, yeah. And you're gonna ask Jamie, and she's going to tell you the price, which is actually on that other page. You see it? Okay. Dozo.
So, kono casa wa.
Wait a minute, before you say kono, look at the position of the
Oh
casa.
gosh, I am so sorry.
Yeah.
Sono casa wa
There you go.
ikura desu ka?
1050円です。
はい、1050円ですね。はい。Now, Jamie-san is gonna be number 2, which is gonna be looking at part A. So you're asking about the wallet, and Sierra-san is going to tell her the wallet price, which is on that other page.
その財布はいくらですか？
7,350 です。
Say again?
Oh wait.
7,000。
7,350
はい、7,350
円です。
はい。いいですね。7,350円ですね。Okay, now Sarah-san is asking Cory-san about the pencil.
Let's see, can you see right?
Yeah, and it's near you.
So it's この、
Yeah.
このイペンスは、
Enpitsu. Enpitsu.
Okay. このインペンスはいくらですか？
53円です。
はい、そうですね。Okay, now Cory-san's gonna ask Julian-san about the T-shirt, the ABC T-shirt.
あれ T シャツはいく
Is it
ら？
are with T-shirts? What's the one that connects directly to a noun that way?
あの
There you go.
T シャツはいくらですか？
はい。
3,780円です。
はい、いいですね。はい。じゃあ、Julian-san is going to ask Chantal-san about the kutsu, the shoes.
靴はいくらですか？
9,405円です。50円です。
はい、そうですね。There's a big difference between 5円and 50円, right? Okay. Okay, so now what's going to happen is card B becomes the person asking the questions place, and card A is where the person answering will find price tags. Okay, so you're asking for number 1 off of card B, which is the clock, and Brandon's going to answer you about the clock's price.
And I'm the customer.
Right, you're the customer.
その時計いくらですか？
その時計 What goes in there? What particle do you need? There you go.
いくらですか？
はい、その時計はいくらですか？
12,600円です。
はい、そうですね。Okay, Brandon-san is going to ask about the bag near the attendant, near the store clerk.
このカバンは
It's near the store clerk, not near you. You're now the customer, so.
そのカバンはいくらですか？
はい。
4,200です。
に
200円です。
はい、そうですね。Okay, now you are going to ask about the pen. There's like a fancy pen down there, right? And it's near
Yeah.
the customer, so you're the customer, you're going to say,
このペンはいくらですか？
はい。
そのペンは315円です。
はい、そうですね。Okay, Bethany-san, you're asking about the hat. You're the customer asking to buy a hat.
帽子はいくらですか？1800円です。
はい、そうですね. And we come for a full circle, and you're asking Paul about the price on those jeans.
ジーンズはいくらですか
9400.
Really?
Oh, sorry, shoes.
Jeans are going to be on that other page.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you. 7350円です。
はい、そうですね. いいですか? Any questions about how that works? And then, of course, if you decided that you actually wanted to buy one particular thing, you would use that, じゃあ、その数をください. So I think the joke here was that you were supposed to like go through the whole round of asking price tags on like 5 different things, and then finally say, じゃあ、その数をください, or whatever the first thing was that you asked about. You asked about all these different prices. Oh, I'll just have that first one I talked about originally. You know?
Are these prices an accurate representation of, would you say? Like
I'd say
depending
that-
on the book? Or-
Given how old the book is, they may have been accurate at the time. They are not necessarily accurate any longer, but it sounds fairly likely that these are fairly accurate prices for some things.
What
Yeah.
is sha?
Ja is like well then in that case.
Oh,
Yeah. One of the ways you've probably heard it if you watch any anime at all is ja mata ne. It's like, well then, see you later. Okay, so moving on to the next activity, where it says, Ginko wa asoko desu. Okay, so we're going to let Paul start us off again by reading example A, the A roll, and Ken's going to read the B roll.
すみません、銀行はどこですか？
あそこです。
ありがとうございます。
Right? So everybody see how that relates to the little picture? She's asking for where the bank is, and the woman's pointing at it, and it's off in the distance there. Okay, so Ken-san and Jamie-san, try Ichiban.
Do we have to say, like, excuse me?
Yeah, go ahead and do the whole little dialogue.
すみません、トイレは、どこ is where, どこですか?
ここです。
はい. And then you answer right.
ありがとうございます.
はい、
Thank you.
いいですね。はい、じゃあ、ジェイミさんとシエラさん、2番お願いします。
すみません。図書館はどこですか？
あ、そこです。
ありがとうございます。
はい。3番どうぞ。
すみません。靴はどこですか？
そこです。
ありがとうございます。
Yeah, that's right.
ありがとうございます。I thought
Hi.
you were going to
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
Can you
that's
cut you
okay.
off?
No, Sokodes is right, exactly right, because it's near her, right?
Yeah.
So, Hori-san, you're gonna start Yonban with
すみません、山下先生はどこですか？
あ、そこです。
ありがとうございます。
はい、いいですね。じゃあ5番、ゆうやんさんとしんどうさん。
すみません。メニューはどこですか？
そこです。
ありがとうございます。
はい。じゃあ6番どうぞ。
すみません。辞書はどこですか？
ここです。
ありがとうございます。
はい、ありがとうございました。Any questions about those? Pretty self-explanatory, right? The context really helps you understand how it works, doesn't it? Okay. Let's look at the next one then. So we're going to let Chantal-san read A and Random-san read B for the example.
これは誰の傘ですか？
みやりさんの傘です。
Hi. So does everybody understand what dare is?
Who's?
Who's?
Who?
Dare
Okay,
no.
so dare no is whose. Dare by itself is who. Okay, so dare no changes it from who to whose. Make sense? Hi.
Where's the B card for this one?
82.
Okay.
Ah, yes.
My question
Hi.
is, are we just to assume when we're asking these questions it's always going to be koro, if we have it?
Yeah, for this particular activity, they're just assuming that they're all going to be korewa, and the focus is not so much on the kore sore are difference as it is on the dare no kasa desu ka, and then meeri-san no kasa desu. Okay, so this one, they're more focusing on this concept of being able to identify whose possession it is. Okay, so yeah, it's page 82 for the info, and you can see that the picture is a different style of picture. And so we're going to let Brandon-san start the first one, ichiban, okay, and Jarek's going to be answering who those shoes belong to.
これは誰の靴ですか？
Susan no Kutsu desu.
Hi, soですね. Okay, now you're asking Bethany-san about the white shoes.
Do I, what, I have to say white shoes in this case?
No, in this case, you can just say korewa.
これは誰の靴ですか?
メアリーさんの靴です。
はい、そうですね. Okay, now you're asking about Sanban, the book.
これは誰の本ですか？山下先生の本です。
はい、そうですね. Now you're asking Paul, 4番.
これは誰のカバンですか？
ロボットさんのカバンです。
はい、ロバートさんのカバンです.
ロボットさん。
Yeah, not robot.
I-
He's not a robot.
Are we sure?
He looks
I know
like
he
a
looks a
robot.
little robotic, but he's supposed to be Robato-san. We're assuming he's human. じゃあ、ポールさんとケンさん、5番ですね。
これは誰の自転車ですか?
Takeshi-san no jitensha desu.
はい、たけしさんの自転車ですね。Okay, now 6番, you get to ask Jamie-san about the hat.
Boshi.
はい、
It was Boshi. Boshi, right?
はい、帽子。
Okay. これは誰の帽子ですか?
たかしさんの帽子です。
はい、そうですね。じゃあ、ジェイミーさんとシエラさん、7番ですね。
これは誰のカバンですか？
スーさんのカバンです。
はい。じゃあ、8番。
これは誰のカバンですか？
スーさんの
いいえ。We're doing Hachi. Different bag.
メアリーさんのカバンです。
はい、そうですね。じゃあ、9番。
これは誰の T シャツですか?
No, we skipped one. Do
Oh.
number 9, 9番.
Okay. これは誰の帽子
帽子。
ですか?
スーさんの帽子です。
はい。Okay, now 10番. You get to ask something.
これは誰の T シャツですか？
ロバートさんの T シャツです。
はい、そうですね。質問がありますか? Any questions about these guys? Making sense so far? Okay, let's look at using mo. So, let's see. We're going to let Brandon-san read the examples for this one. It's just one person reading both sentences for this exercise. So, どうぞ.
お父さんは日本人です。お母さんも日本人です。
Hi. So does everybody understand what's happening here? What's happening in the first sentence is very familiar, right?
Mhm.
お父さんは日本人です. The father is a Japanese person, right? And now we're finding out that the mother is also a Japanese person. So what happens to the wa? It gets replaced by mo, which means also. Okay, so that's how the mo is getting used when you've got two different topics, but the rest of the information about them is identical. Okay? Okay, so we're gonna let Jarato-san read Ichiban.
Before I do that, how would I say Carlos?
Carlos.
Carlos.
はい。
宮城さんは2年生です。
はい。
カロスも
カルロスさん。
カロスさんも2年生です。
はい、そうですね。はい、じゃあ、レサニーさん。
Alright, so let's see. そのカバンは5800円です。And このカバンは
このカバン
も
も
5800円です。
はい、そうですね。So depending on whether you feel like the person listening is standing near that other bag or whether you feel like nobody's standing near it, you could use sono kaban or ano kaban. So that one's kind of open to interpretation since the picture doesn't really tell us whether or not there's anyone standing nearby.
So sono is like exclusively of somebody.
Yeah, sono is when it's near the other person that you're talking with.
So it's not just like
It's not any
like-
random that, it's only when it's near the other person you're speaking with.
I was thinking it was like sort of like Kono is like foreground, Ano is like background, Sono is like middle
No,
ground.
no, it's a little bit different than that. Yeah,
Alright,
kono
okay.
is
Yeah.
near the person speaking, sono is near the person listening, ano is far from both people, or when there doesn't seem to be anyone in particular near that item.
Okay.
So, yeah, given the way the picture is set up, ano might be a better one for
Yeah.
that.
Alright.
Okay, じゃあ3番。
たけしさんは22歳です。
はい。
ロバートさんも22歳です。
はい、そうですね。ポールさん、4番お願いします。
You say
ソウル。
ソウル。ソウルは7
When you say
No.
time,
Time
use
し
You got it. You got it.
7時です。
はい、ソウルは7時です。
東京も7時です。
はい、そうですね。They're in the same time zone. So, ソウルは7時です。東京も7時です。If you wanted to insert 今 now, do you know where you would insert that in the sentence?
東京は今
はい、so you could say ソウルは今7時です。And then you could say 東京も今7時です。If you wanted to put the 今 before the place name, that's also acceptable. 今、ソウルは7時です。東京も7時です。Like that. Okay, so vegetables.
Is that just
Like this is a vegetable, that's also a vegetable.
野菜はです。
No.
Or 野菜です。
That is a vegetable and this is a vegetable.
Okay, so
So,
野菜です。
no.
What? Okay, help me.
Okay. Ano yasai,
I'm missing something.
yeah, you're forgetting that there's another option besides ano. That is a vegetable, not that vegetable is something or other.
Oh gosh. Is it just not it?
Yeah,
over there.
that's the one.
I'm tired.
That's
So
okay.
wa yasai desu.
はい。
And kore wa
これ、
kore oh my gosh. Kore no
これ
wa what?
も
Oh, we're using mo.
Yeah,
I'm so
that's
gone.
the whole-
Kore mo yasai desu.
はい、that's the point of this exercise, right? Okay, so あれは野菜です。これも野菜です。Or vice versa, right? You could do the これ first and the あれ second. Yeah, I don't know for sure, but I have a feeling that native speakers tend to do the これ first and the あれ second. The thing nearer them seems to be the one more likely to be put first, so これは野菜です。あれも野菜です。Sounds more likely to me, but I may be reading too much into it, I don't know. Jamie さん、6番お願いしま
How
す。
would you say Nancy?
ナンシ
Nancy. Okay. And then would you say college students at the University of London or just students at the University?
Which one do you think? How do you want to put it together?
The students of the University
Okay,
of
so
London.
in Japanese I mean, so,
So it would be Roberto-san wa I wanna say 大学.
okay, well, what kind of university though? London 大学
ロンドン大学の
の
学生です。
はい。Okay, so ロバートさんはロンドン大学の学生です。And then,
ナンシ
ナンシー
ナンシ
さん、
さんも大学
ロンドン大
ロン
学。
ドン大学の学生です。
はい、so ロバートさんはロンドン大学の学生です。ナンシーさんもロンドン大学の学生です。Sometimes I get the question, isn't there some faster, easier way to say this? Yes, but they're trying to give you this structure for how to use mo correctly. And then later on, there will be other ways of using mo, but if you get this fundamental one first, then it's easier to learn those later structures that will also incorporate mo. Okay. Any questions about using mo in that second sentence? Notice that it's always the second sentence that takes the mo, right? Because it's saying also. So you have to have the thing that you're saying it's the same as established first before you can have the mo. Make sense? Okay. So now we're going to have Mary-san, Sierra-san read the Q&A for the example in the next segment.
Can we read them both?
She's going to read the Q, you're going to read the A.
メリさんは日本人ですか？
いえ、日本人じゃないです。アメリカ人です。
Hi. Okay, so does everybody see what just happened there? Okay, so for these questions, you're going to be asking the question, and then the next person is going to be answering. And if it's the negative answer, you're going to use ie, blank blank, janai desu, and then give the corrected information of what they actually are. Make sense? Okay. じゃあ1番、木原さんと堀さん。
たけしさんは中国人ですか？
いいえ、日本人じゃないです。
Wait. Okay, we're
I
using
mean,
the,
American. My bad, I read the wrong one. 中国人ですか? I mean, じゃないです。
okay, and
And
then,
then, 日本人です。
height, that's what we're looking for. That's okay. And in case you didn't already see it, the chart is on the next page that's showing you the information you're working with.
Is this also just an example of how to use it, or would you actually, when correcting someone, is it not enough to just say EA, you know?
Again, they're helping you understand the
Okay.
structure for how to use Janaidas correctly. It's not always necessary to say both things.
Like, it's not this, it's this. But
Right.
instead you could just say EA, it's this.
That is a possibility too. In fact, that's the possibility we worked with in lesson 1 because they hadn't taught us Janaidas yet.
What would be,
But
for what we know now, if we were to go over to Chen,
You could
what would
use
be-
either way, but again, they're wanting you to practice
Okay.
Janitas in context, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, it's all about learning new things.
Yeah, it's all about learning how to use the new concept, the new structure, and then over time, you will integrate the various different possibilities more naturally into the flow of a conversation. Okay? どうぞ、2番聞いてください。
バトさんはアメリカ人ですか？
いいえ、アメリカ人じゃないです。イギリス人です。
はい、そうですね。どうぞ、3番。
山下先生は韓国人ですか？いいえ、韓国人じゃないです。日本人です。
はい、よくできました。
Your family is with and English will be already.
My Spanish song
Yeah.
is not helpful.
どうぞ。
ロバートさんの専攻は日本語ですか？
いいえ、日本語じゃないです。ビジネスです。
ビジネス。はい。
ビジネス。
はい。どうぞ。5番。
スーさんの専攻は経済ですか？
いいえ、機材、機材じゃないです。
経済じゃないです。And then
コンピューターです。
コンピューターです。はい。どうぞ。6番ですね。
たけしさんは桜大学の学生ですか？
はい、桜大学の学生です。
はい。So you got the trick question, but also the easier answer. はい。じゃあ7番どうぞ。
メアリーさんはロンドン大学の学生ですか？
いいえ、ロンドン大学の学生じゃない。
じゃないです。
アリゾナ大学の学生です。
Hi, I just want to point out that the way you almost dropped the desk there, that's not wrong, it's just casual. Okay? For those of you who aren't aware of it, if you listen to a lot of anime, it's probably like 90% casual speech. There's not a lot of formal speech heard in your typical anime programming. But we're learning formal, well, neutral polite, basically. It's like the middle level, not super formal, not super casual. We're learning that first, partly because it's the easiest one to learn to conjugate. So it just, on a practical level, it's easier to learn as newbies. Second of all, it's the one that you can use with almost anyone. Friends who know that you're a beginner will understand what you're saying and not mind that you're not using friendly, casual speech with them. Strangers will not be offended by the fact that you're not using something more polite than that because it's acceptable talking to strangers kind of speech. So it's a good compromise because you can't possibly learn the 3 major levels of politeness all at once. So you learn the middle one first, then you learn casual later in this book, and then in the green book they start introducing the extra formal stuff for situations like being in customer service or whatever. Yeah, job interviews, very important example, yeah. Okay, so Dodo, you're going to ask Ken the next question.
たけしさんは2年生ですか？
いいえ、2年生じゃないです。4年生です。
はい、いいですね。じゃあ9番どうぞ。
スーさんは1年生ですか？
いいえ、1年生じゃないです。3年生です。
はい。じゃあ10番どうぞ。
ロバートさんは4年生ですか？
はい。
はい、4年生です。
You're gonna have to repeat it.
Yeah, either はい、4年生です or はい、そうです。
Alright.
Yeah, that's your alternate for a yes answer. If you don't want to repeat back a segment of the question, you can just say はい、そうです. Yes, that is the case. はい。いいですか? 質問がありますか? Okay, let's look at the next activity. Okay, so once again, we're looking at who things belong to. It's the very next page is the answer sheet, some sort of. So you're actually practicing who could this thing possibly belong to. Okay, and you've got 3 choices. So let's have, let's see, whose turn was it? So Sierra and Corey, can you read the A's and B's? A, B, A, B.
これはメリーさんの財布ですか？
いいえ、メリさんの財布じゃないです。
メリーさんの財布。
B さん。
リーさん、sorry。リーさんの財布ですか？
いいえ、B さんのせいです。
財布です。はい。So did everybody see what's happening? So you're guessing whose item this could be, and you've got a 1 in 3 chance of being right the first time, right? Okay, so the 3 people you can guess among are Mary-san, Lee-san, and Yoko-san. Okay? So, どうぞ. So you're going to start with Ichiban.
これは、ヨーコさんのせ傘ですか？
Julian says,
よくさんの傘です。
hi, okay, Julian-san, Santel-san, 2番, so that's the pen.
これはメアリーさんのペンですか？
メリーさんのペンです。
Hi, nobody wants to do negatives, huh? じゃあ、Santel-san, 3番どうぞ.
All guess. これはメリーさんの時計ですか？
メリーさんの時
You
計
tried. Good guessing. じゃあ、ブランドンさんどうぞ.
これはリーさんの財布ですか？
いいえ、リーさんの財布で、じゃないです。
メアリーさんの財布ですか？
メアリーさんの財布ですか？
はいです。はい。はい、メアリーさんの財布ですね。はい、じゃあどうぞ。5番。お願いします。
What is that?
傘。
It's a cup.
That's a teeny little umbrella. I don't know if you guys have ever
It's got
seen
like a backhoe in it.
the collapsible ones. They make extra small collapsible ones in Japan.
Yes.
Yeah, the little purse-sized ones. There it is. Hi. はい、どうぞ.
All right, so
And a lot of Japanese casa have a little case that they come in, like a little Ziploc, not Ziploc, a little drawstring baggie that's fitted exactly to it. And so that's what that's in. That's why it looks a little bit odd, because it's in that little case, which very often the little case is what has the little string to carry it by, the little loop. So, go,
so
go.
これはリーさんの傘ですか？
はい、そうです。
はい。どうぞ。
これはリーさんの時計ですか？
いえ、リーさんの時計じゃないです。
So, ask again, is it?
Oh, I have to
it's
get it
not
right?
Lee's, so
Oh.
yeah, you keep asking until you get it
Okay.
right, so.
これはヨーコの時計ですか？
ようこさん
ヨーコさん。
の時計ですか?
Roko-san no toge.
Alright. Alright, I want everybody to practice putting san on other people's names all the time for now, so that we get in the habit, because it's not an American habit, so it takes practice. どうぞ。
これはリーさんの本ですか？
はい。そうです。
はい、そうです。はい、いいですね。Okay, any questions about that one? That was pretty easy, right? Okay, but it's good practice for that possessive no again. Is everybody feeling a little bit more comfortable with how no gets used? Because I know in lesson 1, they kind of threw a lot of information at you about all the different ways that no gets used in, you know, like, daigaku no sensei versus watashi no senmon versus all these other different kinds of structures, right?
So it's just basically making it possessive, right?
Well, kind of, but it doesn't work as a direct comparison to English all the time, because we do our possessives in opposite order for some things. You know, it's not always, you know, like, we don't say the college's teacher. We say a teacher at college, right? So a more accurate way to define it would be that it's the noun that's modifying, then the noun that's being modified, but that's so wordy and uncomfortable to say, and some people aren't comfortable with the concept of, well, how do I know which is the main noun and which one's the modifier? So it just takes some practice and context to get the idea that it's going to be daigaku no sensei, not sensei no daigaku for, you know, a college professor. You know, sensei no daigaku would be like the teacher's college, the college where that teacher teaches. The college becomes the main idea, but daigaku no sensei is a teacher at a college, somebody who is a college professor, not focusing on the college in that case, focusing on the professor. You see the difference? Both phrases mean something, but which one did you want it to mean is the important question, right? Okay, let's look at the matome no renshu. Okay. So let's just let everybody kind of take turns again. Pick one thing you want to buy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and let the other person tell you how much they want it to cost. You know, and you can make up any kind of crazy price you want to make it more interesting. And also to add interest, instead of only doing the kaban, since that seems like a boring store for the guys especially, you've got the option of instead being a customer in a restaurant and you're ordering food instead. Okay?
I feel like
So, what's that?
I feel like the first one would just be typical.
Okay.
There's like 20 million.
Yeah, there's
that
just,
one. No. That one.
yeah, I guess,
So do I come on.
sono kaban wa ikura desu ka?
Right?
Yeah, well, okay, here's what they're probably wanting you to try to do. Whether you can do it or not is a different question though. Sono kaban wa ikura desu ka? Dore desu ka? Which one? And then, we haven't actually learned any of the modifiers that you would need to answer that question, have we?
No.
So that's kind of a dead end, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's skip that one and go to the waiter, waitress, and customer who's hungry model. And let's say, let's let each person order a food and a drink for themselves. How about that? And does everybody have scratch paper handy? Let's get out scratch paper. Okay. And whatever price tag, if you're the person playing the waitress, I want you to tell the customer how much their items are gonna cost. You can make up any price you want, okay? And if you're the one buying stuff, I want you to jot down the prices they're telling you. Okay, so if you wanna go ahead and make up some prices now, you can, or if you just wanna wing it when the person says it. Yeah, see what happens?
Say a random number, you'd be like, okay, let's
Okay, but you need to write down what you're saying as you're saying it, because when the other person asks you, yeah, 1500円ですか? You want to be able to answer, はい、そうです, or いいえ、1700円ですよ. Okay, so I'm going to grab some scratch paper too, because if I don't take notes, I won't be able to keep track of it all. Okay.
How do we order something like food and a drink?
Okay, so, let's see, I'm looking for something I want to write on. Here we go. Okay, so let's say you want the teishoku and kocha. So you could say, じゃあ、定食ください。定食をください。Please give me the 定食。And then you say, それから in addition, 紅茶をください. Please give me the 紅茶. So I'm not going to give you a lot of new vocabulary, but if you want to say in addition, that's それから. So you already know the それ, so it's like besides that or after that. Okay, それから. So that's you could say and then or in addition. There's lots of ways to translate それから, but you can add that as a conjunction between the two sentences. So you're going to say blank をください。それから and then blank をください again. Okay, make sense? So you're ordering two things. And we're not going to worry about you ordering for anyone else. We're not going to worry about you ordering more than one of an item. All of that is more vocabulary and grammar structures that we're not getting to this lesson. Okay? So if you want soba and ice cream, soba o kudasai. それからアイスクリームをください. Like that. Make sense? Okay. And let's see, whose turn was it? Aha. Did two.
I left off.
Yeah, she was the last one to answer. You asked her the last question.
And you're the last one to read.
Okay.
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 Okay, so you're going to be ordering, and Sierra's going to be taking your order for this first one.
Okay. 라멘をください. それからジュースをください.
So just tell her like the combined price? Or
Okay, if you want to just do that, that's fine, yeah.
Okay, and so I'll just reply with just the price, and then.
You can say, はいどうぞ, and then the money をください. So,
So,
or,
はい、どうぞ、1100
okay, 1100 yen. And then you have
and then
this.
Oh,
Yeah,
1100 です. Alright, I didn't know how to end it.
Yeah,
Like, you want to be
1100
respectful or.
des. Yeah, 1100 yen des or 1100 yen ください. Either one.
Alright.
Right.
Do I say in English what the price?
And then you can repeat back like, はい、1100 yen des, like you're handing over the money.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can tell us if you understood the price.
Okay. はい、1100円です. That was 1,100 yen.
Yeah, 1100 yen. You keep saying san or sen.
Oh,
Watch your vowels. 1100 yen des. Alright. Okay. dozo. So now you're ordering, and Corey's gonna be the waiter.
Okay. Shoot, I was too busy trying to figure out the first thing I don't know how to order. So what's the respectful way to order this? So I just,
You're using okudasai.
alright, so just what I want and then okudasai.
Hi.
Okay. Udon.
Udon. Yeah.
And then.
Udon okudasai.
Udon
And
okudasai.
それから
Oh, それからジュースください。
ジュースをください。はい。Okay. いいですか？
9599円です。
はい。
Gosh.
And
I got
if
the
you,
first
if
two
you,
by myself, and I'm
if
like,
you
oh,
need to
shit.
ask him to repeat it again, what do you say?
もう一度。
はい。もう一度。
Gosh, you just made it like
Take
perfect
it.
confusing. Wow. Someone make it really hard for him.
Because
Because I was like really nice about what I did. I was like,
I actually didn't realize it was that hard.
もう一度言ってください。So make him repeat it as many times as you need.
how do I do it threateningly?
Use an angrier voice.
Oh, okay. もう一度ください。
9599
599
円
and です。
です。
Alright, and then I just repeat the
Hi.
price back to him.
はい。
Alright.
and
and
ですね。
that's it?
はい。
Cool, give me my food, I hate you.
Okay, and you got the price right, I see you wrote it down.
Awesome.
Okay.
I'm so mad.
Okay, どうぞ。
定食
定食。
をください。それから
から紅茶。
紅茶
紅茶。
をください。
Okay, 3300円です。3300円。
3300です。
円です。
円です。
ね。
3,300。
はい。じゃあどうぞ。
ソーダをください。
Anything else? You're not thirsty?
9400円です。
9400 ね. Yeah, when you're repeating it back, remember like with the phone numbers, you repeat it back with desu ne at the end, because you're checking, you're asking for confirmation. It's 9400円ですね. It's this much, right? And then the other person should answer, はい、そうです. Or, いいえ, and repeat the correct information if she got it wrong. Okay? どうぞ. Got it? Okay? 9400円ですね. Okay.
サラダをください。それからミルクをください。
はい。
98,300円です。
Okay.
もう一度言ってください。
98,300円です。
Wow. That's some really expensive restaurant.
And there's some, I hope there's some like raw salmon in there that makes it so expensive.
You know,
A really expensive salad.
it's a fugu salad.
I thought she made it something expensive, but that just
What's that?
too.
What's fugu? It's
Oh, it's,
the puffer fish. Yeah, it's incredibly expensive because you have to have an expert chef prepare it if you don't want to die.
Mo ichido ite kudasai.
Right.
98,300円です。
Okay. 98,300円ですね。
はい、そうです。
Right? And you got what that number is?
98,300.
Yeah, that's an incredibly expensive salad.
That's why I was thrown at first. I was like, whoa.
I agree.
I thought she made my noodles expensive, but that blew it out of proportion.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Chantal's not just getting a salad. She's getting something else with that.
It's only salad.
Bee salad.
Yeah, I think that salad comes with like a DVD set and a TV or something.
A lot of things
It's not a salad, you get a free TV today.
So,
Charge you for them.
Okay. うどんです。をください。
うどんをください。
うどんをください。それから紅茶をください。
もう一度言ってください。
うどんをください。それから紅茶をください。
Then just respond with the price, right? To what he said.
You're gonna tell him the price he owes, cause he's the customer, you're the waiter, so you're telling him how much he's gotta pay you
Oh,
now.
okay. 950円です。
Say again? もう一度言ってください。
言ってください。
950です。950円です。
900万。それから900万何 Enunciate.
900万50円です。
はい。
900万ですね。円ですね。
いえ、900万50円です。
900万50円ですね。
はい、そうです。
So how much was that?
900万
It's way too much.
Yeah.
Is that 900,000 or?
Yes.
900
9,950,000.
man, so,
Oh,
9,050,000.
yeah,
Yeah.
9 million and then 50. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tuna tea, yeah. One of the cheapest meals in Japan usually.
Can you say EA or like never mind that?
Yeah.
Restaurant?
Yeah, never mind.
I'm not gonna see you. I'm not going to.
の高い。
高いですね。Okay.
Okay, so
どうぞ。
ハンバーガーをください。それからミルクをください。
850円です。
850円ですね。
はい。いいですね。That's a good price. 安いですね。That was
It's
cheap.
reasonable.
Yeah, you're reasonable, yeah.
Like,
And,
what the heck?
and the English price would be,
850円ですね。
yeah, so,
850.
はい。 Okay, so, yeah.
Isn't that
Kids
too
meal?
cheap for me?
That well,
For
he got like milk
That-
Yeah.
and a hamburger, which sounds like a kid's meal.
Yeah, that could be, yeah.
Homemade.
Yeah, well, but actually, in terms of the price tag she put on it, that could be like a McDonald's meal, yeah.
9 million is pretty reasonable. Totally.
Yeah, no, yeah, 850 yen sounds like a fairly typical McDonald's price tag for a small meal. They're more expensive in Japan than they are here.
What would that convert to in like US?
That's around $8.
More like Wendy's.
Yeah. Yeah, well, McDonald's prices in Japan are definitely higher than McDonald's prices in this country.
Yeah.
Quality of food is probably low.
Yeah, well, yeah, I can't speak to what ingredients they're really using, but I remember I remember thinking that McDonald's teriyaki burgers tasted better in Japan than any McDonald's I ever got in this country. So,
Spaghettiをください。それからミルクをください。
2世連です。
2000円ですね。
はい、そうです。
So 2000
hi, that sounds also fairly common price
Yeah.
for, depending on what kind of restaurant you're at, but there are a lot of places called family restaurant, which are, like the equivalent of a Denny's or something. And, yeah, a lot of times they will have spaghetti and hamburger on the menu for those kinds of price points. And then they'll also have sushi and, Japanese style fish dishes and things like that on the menu. And one of the reasons they're popular in Japan is because it's someplace where you can take your kids and grandma and grandpa all at the same time, and everybody can find something that they'll actually eat. Because a lot of older Japanese folks don't really like Western food that much. They'd rather eat traditional Japanese fare. But, a lot of Japanese little kids are totally addicted to hamburgers and other Western food. So,
カレーをください。それからジュースをください。
I'm just gonna make a price. 3850 円です。
Hi, that works.
3850円ですね。
はい、そうです。
Hi. Okay, so you're probably getting your curry in a nice upscale Indian place as opposed
Lots
to
of
a family
mushrooms.
restaurant.
My question is, why is the curry like a gravy bucket thingy?
Oh, they do that.
Oh, yeah, they bring you extra curry sauce to pour all over everything if you want to.
Yeah, I just went to a restaurant and they did that. They brought out like rice and they had curry on the side. They also had extra curry in them.
I mean, that's understandable, but the contraption it is in looks like one of those things you pour with
It looks like
gravy
it
with with
looks like a gravy boat,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good stuff.
yeah, it works. Yeah,
For all
it's
liquids.
it's a good way to pour stuff on your dish without spilling it all over the table.
Or
That's
directly
what
onto
you
your
want.
picture.
A
Take a picture of curry.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna give you a whole picture, so.
I just want it just directly onto my face.
Okay, I think you're the last one who didn't get to order yet.
So, サンドイッチをください。それからミルクをください。
1552 円
I
で
was
す。
not writing. I'm justもう一度言ってください。
1552円です。
My brain is just gone. Sand, go, sand, go.
1552
Oh,
円です。
okay, 1,550 yen. 550, what was the last digit?
Ni.
552.
Yes.はい、そうです。
Yeah, well, and that's something that's relatively recent in Japan. Well, it's more than a decade now, but relatively recent in the sense that for a long time they didn't have sales tax or tax on the things that did have tax on them was just included in the price. So when you always got these round numbers for prices. And then at some point, the Japanese government changed their laws and they decided to have sales tax on things that never used to have it. And so all of a sudden you started getting all these crazy different numbers. You know, the price tag on the menu was a round number that ended in 0, but then when you actually went to pay, it ended up being some odd number because of the difference in the law when you add sales tax.
How did that not cause riots?
Japanese people aren't rioters. Yeah,
Nice.
there were people who were not happy about it, but
Quietly.
yeah, they were just very quietly unhappy about it instead of rioting in the streets.
They have these nice round numbers.
Yeah.
And they ruin
It was. I remember the first time I went to Japan getting ichien dama, 1 yen coins, as part of the exchange process when I changed money, and then never having any place to spend them that first trip because everything ended in round numbers. So there was no point to the 1 yen coins. And then, they don't even feel like real money anyway. One of these days I'll have to bring some in for you guys to see that you feel them, they're so lightweight, you feel like they must have been stamped out of tinfoil.
So is it like a plastic? I mean, at that point, for 1 yen, you'd think it would cost more to like make the
To make it, you would think so.
That's
But
what kind of
then-
is with pennies right
Yeah,
now.
but then when the law changed and they started having sales tax, now everybody's got 1 yen coins to deal with because, prices end in odd numbers again.
Maybe
So,
that's why they had two, whereas in America we have
yeah,
too many pennies and nobody wants to deal with them.
yeah.
Whereas in Japan, everyone had these pennies lying around and they're like, well, we have to do something with them.
Who knows? I don't know why they changed the law the way they did,
These
but,
pictures are so weird though.
Yeah.
Because the sandwich looks like there were about like 30 sandwiches, but at the same time it looks like a rainbow cake.
yeah, I think what they did with that is, it's very typical in some, like kisaten in Japan, to have these little British-style sandwiches that are stacked really high with like bread, meat, bread, cucumber, bread, meat, bread, cucumber, and a spike to keep it all together, and they cut the crusts off. So they're very white like that. Yeah, like little finger sandwiches, yeah,
Cute
like in
bento.
bento, yeah. So that's sort of typical for a sandwich to look weird like that. And they do like to put little parsley and other garnish type things on plates all the time to make it look pretty.
Are serving sizes smaller in Japan?
Yes.
Like
Oh,
how,
we're in
what percentage, like
America.
70% of the size?
Yeah.
or-
I don't know a percentage, but I definitely do remember serving sizes being smaller, at least for some things. For some reason, noodle dishes tend to be large. If you look at the udon bowl and the ramen bowl, in proportion to the other dishes they're showing you, that is not an exaggeration. You go into some udon and ramen shops, and the bowl they bring you looks like a serving bowl, not a personal size bowl. Noodle dishes in general tend to be some of the cheapest traditional food in Japan. If you are in Japan on a budget and you can handle all those carbs without, falling asleep or getting sick or something, the way to eat on a budget in Japan is to eat a lot of udon, ramen, and soba, because you get these huge
Giant
bowls with, there's a lot of soup there, and the noodles, and a little bit of veggies and a little bit of fish or meat, depending on what you ordered, or tofu or whatever.
My dad tries to do that to me whenever he makes pho, which
Uh-huh.
is the
Oh, yeah, the
soup. He gives me like this giant bowl. I'm like, Dad, I'm never gonna finish this, right? He's like, just eat it. I'm like,
but there's so much. Like, Dad!
Yeah, so, yeah, for some reason, those dishes tend to be huge, but anything with a lot of meat in it is gonna be smaller portions than we were used to. You're gonna pay a Texas kind of price for a child-sized meal kind of steak. You know, but, and you'll notice also that dishes that are made with like noodles and some meat or whatever, it's gonna have a lot smaller proportion of meat in Japan than we might get here. If you get yakisoba in this country or yakiniku or something, there's a lot more meat in it. When you get the same dishes in Japan, there's a lot more noodles or vegetables or whatever the other stuff is, and the meat part is less.
You know how, like here in America, if you go to a Japanese or Thai restaurant, they always have like Japanese choices or Thai choices at the places. Like if you go to Thai, they have.
Yeah, they have all those.
They do that in Japan as well. They also have like Thai influenced things and Chinese influenced things, or not?
Not in the restaurants that are just traditional Japanese food, but in the international restaurants. There are international restaurants that are Thai or Chinese or whatever, and they're somewhat Japanese influenced versions of those dishes. But the reason why so many Thai restaurants in this country also offer Japanese cuisine is because a lot of Thai chefs most of the Thai places around here are Thai owned. But a lot of the chefs train on how to make Japanese dishes because Thailand is one of the major tourism destinations for Japanese people. It's nearby, it's a short flight for them, and the economy is such that, the exchange rate is such that Thailand is a cheap vacation spot for Japanese people. The yen is very strong against the baht. So, yeah, a lot of Japanese people go to Thailand for vacation, and a lot of Japanese businessmen go to Thailand on business and then also take vacation time while they're there, or they just go there for a vacation away from their families sometimes.
I'm going on business.
Yeah. So, yeah, Thailand is just a really popular destination spot, so any really good Thai chef is probably also going to train in how to make some popular Japanese cuisine, because if he wants to own his own restaurant in Thailand, he's going to have a lot of Japanese customers, and they're going to come in and be saying, you know, yeah, I've had pad Thai, pad see ew, and all this Thai stuff for the past 3 days. I'm ready for some Japanese food. And so you want those customers, you're going to be able to provide some Japanese food.
Which one of my favorite things is carne center, so like
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so good job. By the way, the ordering in a restaurant thing that we just practiced, and the buying stuff in the shop kind of stuff that we practiced earlier with, you know, like, kaban wa yukura desu ka, all that kind of stuff. Those are some of the kinds of things that are going to be on the OPI. So,
next Thursday.
yeah, next Thursday.
And will we have like a scratch paper like that to like write down the price?
Yes, yeah, and actually, in fact, my plan for this time for the OPI is to actually have a little sheet for you to fill in what the other person said and hand it in. So I'll have like a little record of your listening comprehension of the other person.
Would you want us to fill it out in Japanese or English? Would you mind if that would matter?
No, it's going to be like English answers.
Okay.
Because I'm looking for, can you understand them, not just can you write it down verbatim what they said. So if she says, Sengo Hakuen desu, I want to know that you understood that Sengo Hakuen is 1,500 yen.
Okay.
You know, so I would ask you to put the numbers are going to be in digits, and then anything else, like, you know, if I'm asking you what it is you just bought for that price, you can put that in English.
Cool.
Yeah.